Thank you. We're here today to support the Chinese people whose human rights are being abused by the regime in Beijing. We want our government also to side with the hundreds of millions of Chinese who are striving for the right to free speech, for the right to publish what they want and not to have their internet censored, for the right to form independent political parties, for the right to practice whatever religion they want in the manner that they wish, and not to be subject to arbitrary arrest and to have available to them a fair and independent judicial process. We want our government to demand the closure of all of those prison camps where thousands of dissenters are currently held in horrible conditions. We want our government to support the abolition of the death penalty in China, which the Chinese government uses more than any other government in the world. We are saying that human rights are not for sale. If reaching a free trade agreement with China means ignoring the human rights of the Chinese people, then we don't want that free trade agreement. If the only path to a free trade agreement is to restrict our own right to criticise the Chinese regime, then that is not the sort of free trade agreement we want. If signing a free trade agreement means shielding visiting Chinese dignitaries from protest or a critical New Zealand media, as happened in the Nick Wang case, then we don't want that sort of free trade agreement. If getting a free trade agreement means banning government ministers from meeting the Dalai Lama, as happened recently, for fear of offending the government in China, then we don't want that sort of free trade agreement. The road to deep and lasting relations with the Chinese people, including economic relations, lies in supporting the flowering of democracy in China, not turning a blind eye to the brutality of the regime against the people. If we are true to New Zealand democracy, we must not restrict our own human rights, our own right to criticism, the violation of human rights and repression abroad, in this case in China. That is the tragedy of what is happening today, that our human rights are being undermined. The abuse of human rights in China is being imported in New Zealand, with the government scared to speak out, with the government accommodating to the Chinese regime rather than speaking out and being part of a world movement to support the rights of the Tibetan people, the rights of all the people denied their human rights in China, the right to peace between China and Taiwan, the right of repressed Muslim minorities to their freedom, and the rights of ordinary people as a whole to develop a democracy that meets the interests of China. We are glad to have with us today someone who defected from the Chinese regime and can tell us the truth about what happened there. We should listen to him, just as we should listen to the Dalai Lama, just as we should listen to everyone in China today who's speaking out for freedom and democracy. Thank you.